and dash through the snow, wild ones. It's Bernadette. I'm here with your pick a card tarot reading for Monday, December 14th, 2020. There are only 11 more sleeps until Christmas. 11 is a master number, and that makes total sense to me why the Emperor card, the eagle, has shown up for you all today. And I gotta say about this card, if you take a look at the traditional Rider-Waite tarot card for the Emperor, and for those of you just joining us, thank you so much. I read from my own award-winning, history-making, record-breaking Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck, and the tarot cards that are inside of it, even though it's like all the great power and energy of the animal allies, it's married with the traditional Rider-Waite tarot. So every time when I was a beginning tarot reader, man, I just used to frustrate people because I would look at that card and darn if I wouldn't see Santa Claus every time, just every time. And I know this fellow's supposed to be, the authority. I'm the emperor. I'm the man. And there's great, 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 great myth and symbolism behind this guy and this card. And it really is a very powerful card. It's in the major arcana. It's extremely, extremely, I kind of hate to keep saying the word powerful, but it is just this extremely powerful archetype, right? So, and a little dangerous for people who have daddy issues. So, take it for what it's worth today. But I just can't shake the feeling again that Santa has something to do with this pull today, and I don't mean in the traditional way. Let me get a little more to the point. So I am going to do a deep spiritual assessment, spiritual symbolism and meaning assessment of Santa and his elves and his sleigh and the reindeer and Mrs. Claus. I'm in the middle of it right now. And I've learned more about the legend of Santa than I ever knew. Who knew? So when I look back at all of the transitions and metamorphosis and everything of Santa, I really can see the Emperor in it because he's, and when you take a look at the name, Eagle has the nickname King of the Sky because Emperor of the Sky is a little hard to say, and whoever coined him King of the Sky may not have even known that word, right? Or didn't like the flow of it. But when you take a look at Santa, he's the King of the Sky. Now, yes, we have jets and all that kind of thing, but they're not nearly as interesting as eagles and Santa and his reindeer flying through the sky with all those delicious, new iPhones and iPads and whatever else you're getting everybody and yourself for Christmas or Yule, right? So there's going to be something about you being kind of the authority figure in your own sky, if that makes sense, and going whichever way you want to go. The other thing about this is, and really, I know you guys think I've lost my dang mind comparing Santa to the Emperor in the tarot, but I stand by it. The Emperor has been through everything. That's why he's got the white beard. That's why he looks so wise. Maybe even a little Gandalf-y, although again, he still kind of reminds me of Santa Claus. But he does represent a father figure who has overcome all obstacles. The mountains and the river and the card are in the distance. His red robe shows he can still, no matter the white hair, he's not frail, he's not weak, he can still pack a wallop. And the color white, symbolizes pure spiritual power. So when you take a look at his evolutions, everything he's had to go through, not only to be the emperor, but stay the emperor. I mentioned in one of the king cards last week or the week before, I'm like, before you start singing, oh, I just can't wait to be king or emperor, you might want to read the Greek tragedies where all those old boys get stabbed in the back. So when you take a look at the transitions of Santa Claus, my gosh, when you talk about the myths and the different writers, I mean, even Frank Baum, who did The Wizard of Oz, and that may be all you need to hear from this reading today is The Wizard of Oz. That may be like, oh my gosh, that's the biggest message ever, right? They've written and rewritten in the legend and lore of Santa Claus and the actual Kris Kringle Santa Claus. Generations back, there really was a fellow that walked around doing good deeds, that kind of thing. And when you take a look at the reindeer, holy cow, those reindeer names have changed over and over and over again. And the Santa that we know now was actually a marketing effort from the Coca-Cola Corporation back in the 40s and 50s. So in the mix in there is, it's like, will the true emperor please stand up? Why aren't they all true? Why can't they all be true? Because of the transitions, because of the metamorphosis, because of the transmutations. I had somebody, here's what I want to go a little bit deeper into that, because it has to do with when you're reading a card, a tarot card, or you are interpreting a tarot card or a tarot pull, a tarot card spread for yourself or somebody that you're reading for. It's, listen, you can do the surface stuff. You can just memorize the meanings and just, spit that back out at people. But if you'll allow yourself to open your intuition, which Eagle is an enormously great helpmate for, just enormously, just the stories from, cultures around the world that have eagles, they're always connected with the heavens and the spirit world, and being able to see beyond the veil, behind the veil. So when you're looking at all of these, of course, transitions, transmutations, it can have something to do with whatever you're not even seeing in the card at the moment. But this thing that you know about this Emperor Tarot card, which is he's been through everything, he has overcome all obstacles. You might have a word come in your head like faith, or the R word, religion, right? Or spirituality, or whatever whatever you want to give it. And so I remember these readings for you guys. Some of it is tarot teachings, right? Tarot card meanings and their teachings and whatever. Some of it is teaching about the spirit, totem, or power animal. But at the end of the day, mostly it's a reading. So when I'm channeling for you guys, I'm channeling what spirit wants me to focus on most at the moment and at the beginning. That should be the most, I don't know, I would say important, but it should be the thing that's on the most people's minds or the most people's hearts. And that is, again, for the Emperor, the metamorphosis that you go through when you overcome an obstacle. You get past this, you're a different person. You tackle this and get past this, you're a different person. And each thing keeps you hopefully going up and up and up. Hopefully you're not going backwards. Now, it really can't be overlooked that this card really is the daddy card. Now, as someone who did not have her father grow up in her life, I, who knows? Maybe I have daddy issues. I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it too much, but I read for people every single day that do, and then they have, that whole yin yang, male female. They're not quite in the mix, not quite in the balance, and that may be what this card means for you today, is to check where you're at with the masculine energy. Now, that may be about the masculine inside of yourself. That may be about, am I, one person to rule them all, which is not necessarily only a masculine trait. It has been, listen, that's what the suffrage was about, the vote, the whole 9 yards. Is women are that powerful, right? In their way, and men are powerful in their way, and then we're all powerful in the same ways. So it really may be today about you checking to see internally where you're at with male authority, masculine energy, and again, that could be inside of yourself. It has been argued about Bernadette sometimes throughout my lifetime, that I'm a little more masculine than I am feminine, because I'm Bernadette. That's not Bernadette. And I probably would agree with that to some extent in certain situations. Have a good looking fella bring me some flowers. I'm like, right? So just take a look at that. Moving on, when you do want to start taking a little bit of a deeper dive into the very specific symbolism of this Rider-Waite Tarot, take a look at the throne. It sets the Emperor apart from the world. It's gray, it's cold, but it's in a landscape of these brilliant reds and yellows. And what it shows is that it's his position and not his spirit that separates him from the rest of the world. And man, I've talked to a lot of people lately that, certainly because of the COVID thing, the lockdown thing, they're not feeling lonely so much as they're feeling isolated and cut off from the herd, from the tribe, from the pack. And people that are not, loners or solitary people, or maybe even you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll get to it in a minute. It's where you have a little bit of anxiety being around people, that kind of thing. I've had the word empath in my mind, but that's not the word. Anyway, I'll remember it in just a second. But uh, when you take a look at what this emperor is concerned about, he's concerned about how best to serve and protect his family. And he thinks of his family as the extended world, his world anyway. If his kingdom has 50 million people in it, it's got 50 million people. You know, emperors these days, kings these days, presidents, czars, whatever, um, chieftains, tribal elders. I would say that mostly in the more developed, countries, that leader certainly has their eye on global family, right? That's the whole earth, including the two-legged peoples, the four-legged peoples, the winged peoples, all that kind of thing. So you may have something on your mind today about global kinds of things. What can you do? What have you just learned that you like or you don't like? When you step into that position of authority, the other thing I keep hearing is teacher, 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 teacher. And there's something for the collective out there, you guys, today, that you're being urged. Whew, wow, man. Whew, okay. Wow. Okay. You are being urged to see what you can contribute as a teacher on this earth. And that can be, my gosh, that can just be a passing word to a cashier in a checkout line at your local grocery store, or it could be that you've been thinking about launching your own classes, or maybe going back to school to be a teacher, or anything like that. But anything where you can offer information, because remember, today is the root chakra day. That's foundations. It's the ruling planet is the moon. That's about emotions. So whatever this is that you are considering, it's deeply emotional for you, and it's so rooted in your core. You want to do it so badly. The interesting thing is if you'll lean into that, right? And you'll then, okay, you've got the emperor behind you, right? Now lean into the energy of the eagle. And even though you've got this strong foundation, when you step forward, you're stepping forward off the top of that tree, off the top of that cliff, off the top of that mountain, but not like the Fool card. This isn't blind faith. This is a plan. This is, I know what I want to do. I know what it takes to get there. And now I'm just going to spread my wings and I'm going to be the king of the skies. Eagles, oh my God, you guys, courage and vision and watchfulness and spiritual illumination. The Celts loved eagles so much, they associated them with their all-powerful gods like Odin, um, who could transform into an eagle. In feng shui, experts use eagle images in the north and the eastern parts of the house. In shamanism, eagle is the direction of the east, which is new beginnings, which is exactly perfect for this message for you guys today about this teaching thing. Working with the male, the male component, the masculine divine, whether it's with issues, or maybe you want to step more into the masculine. Maybe you want to be more of, a whatever. And certainly there are a lot of single moms out there where you guys are, maybe you don't see it this way, or you don't articulate it this way, or you're just not making the being a single mom part of the conversation in the way that you don't feel like or think you want to or see the need to. Try to be both mom and dad. But if you do, and you're trying to fill both roles, eagle can very, very much help you with that. And with this teaching component, eagle can certainly teach you how to get that new beginning, to start doing that. And it may be that you want to be a teacher in some kind of particular lane, or niche, or maybe even in the public school system. Don't do it. But this may be the call for you to get any certification or schooling you need to then become a teacher. The other thing that this will tell you is, listen, back in the ancient days, Wow, this is such a huge message coming through. Woo! Back in the ancient days, people didn't care what college degree you had. They didn't care because there was no such thing as college. And so people could be an emperor, they could be a king, they could be whatever. And yes, there was a lot of nepotism and there was a lot of, family lineage and that kind of thing, but then also there wasn't. And so maybe you are freaking out because you don't know. Can you go be a neurosurgeon without a college degree? Of course you can't. But if you want to work with somebody's neurological system, or you want to work in a healing capacity in some way, perhaps there's another way for you to go about it. Energy healers abound all across the world. And let's say that you want to teach macrame, or you want to teach spiritually related metaphysical things. Okay. You don't have to have a college degree to do that. My favorite. I often wonder, people that say they have a PhD in metaphysics, I often wonder what that really means. And yes, I've seen all the schools and seen their curriculum and whatever. Um, and I do admire the people that go through those programs. Man, some of them are amazing. But at the end of the day, you don't have to have that to teach what you want to teach. And the reason I bring that up is not to diss any of the schools that teach metaphysics by way of offering degree. I'm not dissing people that are very proud of their PhD in metaphysics, as well you should be. You committed to something, you had a calling, you did it, you're the emperor in my book. But for those of you who are not in a financial position to do that, because those things are expensive, for those of you who don't just truly can't carve out the time, whatever the reasoning is, and you've been holding yourself back. And I bring this up because, again, the thousands of people that I read in a year that do want to enter this space, and they've got all the but, here's what I don't have, here's what I don't have. Right, but here's what you do have. And here's how you build on that. And here's how you extrapolate your what? Your emperor, like, I've overcome all these obstacles to rise to the top, to be the big cheese. So, if you want to call on uh, Eagle, well, or if Eagle has been showing up as your spirit animal, please, it's just time to hold your head high. It's time to have the courage. It's time to take the flight. It is just time to step into your own wings of power. When let's say you know that Eagle is your totem, it's like who you are. You've got this otherworldly way of inspiring awe in people, of inspiring honor and respect in people. Man, good for you. I want to be your friend. Be careful now when you call on Eagle as a power animal, because that's going to infuse you with a higher perspective that you may or you may not be ready or willing to see at the moment. And why I bring that up is I get phone calls, I get emails of people who they work so hard, they open their third eye, and they open all their spidey senses, and it blows them back out of the water. All of the synchronicities that start happening, all of the people from the other side that they start seeing and hearing from and talking to, all of the things they know about people. Pardon me. Um, they wanted it in theory. That's why they were doing it. But when they got it, it scared them a little bit or a lot of it. And so careful what you wish for, because Eagle, they're not going to come in with a spoonful of sugar. Eagle's going to go, okay, you want open eyes? Here we go. And there's no judgment there, and it's not meant to be harsh. And if you can get past that moment and you think of all the beautiful things that you can know that will help yourself and other people, man, it can be something, 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 something. So I hope that was helpful. Happy Monday. I hope you have just the greatest day ever. Pick up your copy of the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that little ding, ding, ding so that you get the notifications. And I just wish you guys the very, very best Monday has to offer. What's the most important thing? Say it with me. To stay wild.